This is the lecture for Perry Hendricks' article, Even if the fetus is not a person, abortion is immoral, the impairment argument. So both of the topics in this lecture are, I think, explained in the glossary that the syllabus mentions. So if you go to the syllabus and go to the resources section, it has a link to my website, which has a glossary of philosophical terms. Hopefully you've been using that throughout the semester, but if you haven't, this is just a reminder that that exists. And so I think both the terms I'm going to explain here are explained in the glossary, maybe just the first one, but I think both. And so this is mostly a reminder to check the glossary if you run into terms that you don't understand. But just to explain them, so one term that comes up quite a bit in this reading, and I think it's come up in this class before, is ceteris paribus. And so that's just a Latin phrase. It means holding everything else equal. And so let's look at its usage here. He's discussing the impairment principle, TIP. If it is immoral to impair an organism O to the nth degree, then, ceteris paribus, it is immoral to impair O to the n+1 degree. So this just means that if it's immoral to impair something to a certain amount, then holding everything else equal, it's immoral to impair something even more than that. And so what are we holding equal? Well, whatever else would be potentially relevant. The reason we need this ceteris paribus clause here is that maybe you can think of a case where it's immoral to impair an organism O to the nth degree, but not immoral to impair O to the n+1 degree. Maybe it's immoral to do this because there's no reason to do it, but if you do this, then you'll save like 10,000 lives or something. So that's a case where the impairment principle would be false if it didn't have this clause. But this clause says, look, we're holding everything else equal. So if you don't change the situation between this and this, between the first thing and the second thing, if, it's the same situation and so on, then if it's immoral to do this, then it's immoral to do that. So it's just holding everything else equal. So I was just talking about, the first thing and the second thing. So this is an if-then statement. If blah, 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 then blah, blah, blah. So in if-then statements, the thing that follows the if, we call the antecedent. And the thing that follows the then, we call the consequent. So if x, then y. X is the antecedent, y is the consequent. And I mention this because, down here he's talking about like the consequent, for instance, and just those are what those words mean. Antecedent refers to this part of the statement, and consequent refers to this part of the statement.